Hey guys, it's Holly. So today I wanted to show you guys through some more of my Lego Disney minifigure collection. So currently I've sort of got every single minifigure and character for the most part besides all of the mini dolls. But today I specifically wanted to focus on all of the Disney princess minifigures and characters and even go through some of the mini dolls that I have. So if you haven't seen the first one already, where I sort of go through all of the Disney classics. So if you want to see figures like all the Mickey Mouse gang as well as Winnie the Pooh, I will leave that sort of linked at the top right now. So let's get into all of the Disney princesses. So first up, we're going to our second ever Disney princess film, and that is Cinderella, of course, starting off with Cinderella herself. And this mini doll is actually from a polybag as well as Cinderella's carriage. So I've got two of them. They mostly just live in a drawer. One thing I do love about this Cinderella though is the fact that she's got this rubberized hair, which actually fits really nicely onto a minifigure. So it works really nicely. I mean, it's just nice to have Cinderella in general to go along with the Disney castle, but I do hope that we can get a minifigure one day. Also from Cinderella's carriage, I got the fairy godmother, and again, I really love this rubberized piece that works really nicely with a minifigure. In fact, I think it looks better on minifigures. I ended up making sort of my own fairy godmother just because of that piece, and I think it turned out pretty well. I hope we can get her as well in minifigure form, but I'm just glad to have her so far. And lastly from Cinderella, we have Gus Gus, who also came in that Cinderella's carriage and has his little printed yellow top. I mean, I wish he came with the little green hat as well, but he's just too adorable. And I mean, I would slot this in with all of my minifigures just because I love these little Disney princess characters. I think they look so adorable. Next up is Sleeping Beauty, and the only character I have from that film is the Maleficent minifigure herself from the original Disney series. I really hope, again, that one day we can get Aurora, and even I would like to have an Aurora mini doll in general, just so that I have the character. I also know that Merryweather exists, but she's quite expensive. I mean, I'm looking into getting her just to match Maleficent, because I think she would look absolutely fantastic, but this Maleficent minifigure is spectacular. I do wish, though, that, you know, these days we've got that better looking dress piece, whereas this is just a printed slope. Maybe one day we can get an upgrade, but I'm not counting on it. Next up is my favorite Disney princess movie of all time, and that is The Little Mermaid, and I feel so lucky to have Ariel in minifigure form. Out of all of the Disney princesses we've gotten my favorite, so I'm really happy, and I absolutely love this minifigure. This hairpiece is spectacular. It perfectly captures Ariel. Even the face print I love. Her tail as well looks fantastic, as well as the torso. She just makes me so happy. However, in the CMF Series 1, she did just come with a little clamshell, which is quite frustrating because I feel like she would have looked better with Flounder, who already exists, who is our next character. And again, he's just perfect. I mean, I literally bought him off Bricklink just because I wanted to have Flounder as a character because these little figures match the minifigures so well. And it's the exact reason why, again, I did the exact same with Sebastian. He is our next character and he looks incredibly cute. I mean, the easiest way to get them these days is probably to just go out and buy that Little Mermaid sort of storybook thing, which honestly is an amazing set. Just like Flounder and Sebastian, next up we have Max, who's definitely a lot more of sort of the Friends style of dog, which is sort of annoying because it doesn't quite match the minifigures as well. But again, I really just like him, and you can tell it's Max as well just by those super shaggy eyebrows. He looks so cute. And lastly from The Little Mermaid, we've got Ursula, and again, I love this minifigure. I love having the Disney villains. They look spectacular, and Ursula is no exception. Her tentacles are amazing, and she's definitely one of my favorite Disney villains that I have in my collection. Her hairpiece as well looks spectacular. Same with her little face print, and admittedly, I do actually have an Ariel mini doll as well. I just don't know where she is, but it was from that original Ariel set from way back in the day when the Disney princess theme first launched. Our next movie is Beauty and the Beast, so we are starting off with sort of Village Belle, and I absolutely love this mini doll. It makes me so happy to see this outfit. I mean, I'm gonna say this 1,000 times in this video, but again, I would much prefer a minifigure, but I'm so glad that we finally got a Village Belle in mini doll form. I can't believe it took this long, and this Belle is actually from that recent sort of Belle and the Beast castle set, which I personally really enjoy. Also in that set, it gave me my first ever Belle in her yellow dress, and this is just absolutely iconic, and I am so happy to have her in some sort of Lego form. She looks adorable. It is sort of frustrating that the hair is exactly the same on both of these mini dolls, but then again, Lego doesn't seem to really pay too much attention to those hair pieces. I mean, you could always swap it out with the Hermione Granger hair from the Yule Ball, but besides that, this Belle is adorable. I do wish her dress though was a tiny bit more accurate. Again, from that same castle set, you also get the Beast, who I've made into a minifigure just using this headpiece. I mean, technically you've also got Prince Adam underneath it, but just using this Beast head, you can actually make your own minifigure. I think just with the eyes though, he looks a bit too nice and friendly instead of sort of scary and menacing, but I really like this figure. It just looks so out of proportion because he's sort of got the regular male mini doll arms instead of looking like a really aggressive, sort of angry Beast. One of my favorite things about just the Disney princess mini doll sets in general though are the characters, and Lumiere is no exception, and this version of Lumiere is from that sort of original Belle's Castle set, so he's definitely sort of a lot larger than you'd typically expect, but I love the face print on him. He looks spectacular. His nose just looks hilarious, and it's so great to have that sort of brick-built version of Lumiere. However, this year in that newer Belle and the Beast Castle, we did get an updated version with a brand new face that sort of features that newer candelabra piece, so scale-wise he definitely works a tiny bit better, although yeah, I don't know, I just don't prefer this face as much. I feel like the older one worked so much better. That new castle also gave us a scaled down version of Cogsworth. Personally, I really like sort of a combination of the Juniors Cogsworth as well as that sort of original castle one, but at least this Cogsworth looks a lot more to scale when you put him up next to a minifigure or a mini doll, which I really like. The printed head is also a very welcome piece, as well as the printed brick underneath him. Another character who is severely out of proportion though is Babette, and she is such a simple build, yet so cute. I really love the face print, and up against that original Lumiere, she looks amazing. Some of the cutest though and most accurate have to be Mrs. Potts and Chip, and I love these versions, especially with that sort of newer lavender top for Mrs. Potts. I think she looks adorable, and even Chip. I personally prefer this little teacup run rather than the mug, just because I think it looks a bit more accurate, even though Chip technically has two handles because his nose is printed there and you've also got the teacup there. Either way, they're just such a cute pairing, and again would look amazing up against any of the Disney princess minifigures. One character that I'm glad was brought back this year is the Stove. Now, I mean, out of all of the characters from Beauty and the Beast, he's probably not one of the most iconic, but just the fact that we get him makes me really happy, and I love having him alongside the rest of sort of the Beauty and the Beast furniture gang that I have going. The best member of that gang though is definitely the wardrobe, and while I definitely prefer the original wardrobe, I really love having this version of her. I think she looks adorable, and the fact that she's got a little brush and bow on the inside is so cool. I just love having all of these furniture pieces, and like I said, these builds and these molded characters are the best things about those Disney princess sets. Next up, I have Aladdin from the hit movie Aladdin, and I again really like this figure. His hairpiece looks insanely accurate. I really love it, having the little fez at the top as well. His face is incredibly cartoony but also incredibly charming, and he comes along with a little lamp accessory. The only thing that I would have loved better is to have a little molded version of Abu, but I totally get why it wasn't included because this was the original Disney series. The budget had to go into a ton of new head molds, but again, I just absolutely love him, although really it would have been nice to have some dual molded legs and have the white printed on, but I get why it wasn't a thing. In that same series, we got the Genie, who again came along with the little golden lamp, and I love this version of the Genie. He looks so cool. I love how they've printed the red belt onto that little Genie piece at the bottom. I think it was a spectacular usage and just able to give us that character, which I love. Even this little headpiece having these pointed ears look really cool, and honestly sort of remind me of the Skrull heads that we got a couple of years later. He's got some golden cuffs on his arms and a little feather hair piece at the top, and he was the perfect complement to Aladdin. However, an even better compliment would have been Princess Jasmine, who we got actually in the Disney series too. And I'm really glad that we got Jasmine because it was weird having like a minifigure of Aladdin and only a mini doll version of Jasmine. So I'm really glad that we were able to get this, and she even actually has the same hairpiece as those mini doll Jasmines, which I thought was such clever parts usage. Her accessory was this little dove, and it just makes me so glad to have another Disney princess in minifigure form. And last but not least from Aladdin, we have Jafar, and I just could not believe that we got 4 Aladdin figures in total. Then again, this series did come out when the live action Aladdin came out, so it sort of made sense to tie it in, but he looks spectacular. I love this shoulder piece that they've used for him. I love how they've incorporated that new dress piece. The staff matches perfectly, and just this headdress in total looks insane. And honestly, from memory, I'm pretty sure that is how I located the figure when I went hunting. His face print as well is perfectly menacing. I absolutely love him. Again, it would have been really cool to have Iago, but I get why we didn't get the new mold. Going back to our mini dolls, next up we have Rapunzel, and she comes from the Rapunzel's Tower set, and I really love this mini doll purely because she's got her feet. I mean, Rapunzel's running around barefoot through this entire movie, so it's really awesome to have this one with her feet. Now, honestly, if you're a Disney fan and you haven't bought that Rapunzel's Tower set because it's mini dolls, just look past it and buy the tower. It's an amazing set, and I've actually done a review on it on this channel, but this Rapunzel mini doll is so cute, although one day I would love to see Rapunzel actually have like her full length hair, but for now this one works really nicely with her bare feet as well as her really cute face. Also in that set, we got Flynn Ryder with a recoloring of the Han Solo hair, which just works absolutely perfectly. The only thing that I feel like could have been better is his smolder. I just don't think it's quite smoldery enough, if that makes any sort of sense, but I love Flynn Ryder, and it's awesome to get some more Disney princes in mini doll form. Next up, we have Pascal, and he's just so cute, although I feel like he is just way too big to be a chameleon, but I think he's adorable. I love his giant eyes. I also love his little pose and even his little feet. He's so cute, and he's also from that Rapunzel's Tower set. Technically, I feel like I should have put this in the Pixar video, but you know, Brave's a Disney princess movie, so here are the 3 bears. Now, these actually came from an original sort of Brave set, and the only Brave set that we've gotten in mini doll form, and I love these bears. I actually have 2 sets of them. One set actually live on my Disney castle next to like the bow and arrow and target that reference Brave, and then the other ones just sort of live with the rest of my Disney minifigures and mini dolls, and they're so cute. Highly recommend picking them up. Next up, we have Anna, and out of all of the Disney princesses to get turned into minifigure form, I am not surprised that the Frozen girls made the appearance in Disney Minifigures Series 2. And honestly, I'm not a massive die-hard fan of Frozen. I mean, I really enjoy the film. It's a lot of fun. I definitely enjoy it a lot more now than I did when it came out originally, and I'm really happy that we have this version of Anna. I think she looks really cute. I love her printing. Her face as well is absolutely adorable, and I really like how they've done her hair. I think it looks incredible. Of course, in that series too, you had to get Elsa, who came along with this massive giant snowflake, and Elsa, honestly, I don't like quite as much as Anna. I mean, her printing works really well, but part of me wishes that there was a bit more shine and sparkles, at least on the skirt piece. I think the torso looks amazing and the arms look amazing. I also really like how they've done the cape. I think it looks really good, and this hairpiece is spectacular and should have been recolored for Black Widow in Endgame, but you know, never mind. But I just think in comparison to Anna, she looks a bit plainer. I don't know, I guess it's because I prefer Anna as a character over Elsa a lot of the time as well. To go along with them too, I ended up buying this Olaf little mini doll figure, which works pretty well. However, we have had a significant upgrade with this Olaf this year, alongside the Frozen sets where his mouth is actually colored in and he's got that sort of little twiggy headpiece at the top, and also got rid of all of the sort of fancy snowflakes. This one matches those minifigures so much better, and if you do have those Anna and Elsa minifigures from Series 2, highly recommend looking into picking up one of these Olafs, because he's just the perfect complement to those minifigures. Another perfect complement is Sven, and he was in one of the recent Frozen 2 sets. It was pretty cheap, and honestly, it's the reason I bought this set. I wanted to have Sven to match along with it, especially since he wasn't in Elsa's Ice Castle. He's just absolutely adorable, and again, matches Olaf, matches the minifigures. They all just look so cute together, and if you have the opportunity to get another Disney character, I mean, why wouldn't you take it? While Elsa's Ice Castle wasn't minifigure based, honestly, I don't mind too much looking back because there were some amazing mini dolls included. Starting off with this version of Anna, I love how her cape is sort of flapping in the wind and the printing on the skirt and dress look really accurate. Like they're not super overdone, they're not super flashy like I find a lot of the mini dolls figures are, and I think it works absolutely perfect. I also love how they've got the version of her with that little cap on, even though if you put this on a minifigure, trust me, it looks really weird. In that Ice Castle set as well, there were two versions of Elsa, which added two new mini dolls, starting off with this one with this really long and sparkly and shiny magical cape, which looks spectacular. This dress as well, again, is really nice and honestly what I wanted the minifigure version to look like. Like the dress printing looks spectacular. There's so much shine, so much metallic. I mean, don't even talk about metallic without even mentioning this torso. Just look at those shiny arms. I really love this mini doll. And I also love the fact that they've got these giant ice crystals sort of coming out of her hands to make it look like she's using her powers. Like, I'm not a huge mini doll fan, we all know that, but this one is really solid. Our second Elsa in that set is Coronation Elsa, who again has this giant cape which looks absolutely gorgeous, and I think it was so smart to have Coronation Elsa in Elsa's Ice Castle, considering she literally transforms out of this outfit into her magical dress in Let It Go, so I think it works really well. Her accessories in her hand look spectacular again, as well as the dress printing. It's just plain, it's not overdone, it's not over shiny or sparkly or floral, and this is what I would love to see out of mini dolls in the future. I mean, I would buy so many more mini doll sets if their printing actually looked somewhat realistic to the film, just like this one. I think Lego did an amazing job with the characters in that set. Also in that set, and sort of same deal with the Elsas and Anna, is Kristoff. I love the printing on him. It's so basic, it's so plain, it's so beautiful. It's exactly what I would want out of a mini doll. And just like Flynn Ryder, it is great to see some more male characters being made into mini doll form. They are so underrepresented, and it's great to have someone like Kristoff. Going back to the not really a minifigure category, we have this little snowman, which you may recognize from Frozen 2. I mean, the last time I saw him was sort of watching those Olaf shorts that released on Disney+. You get a couple of them in Elsa's Ice Castle, so I've got a ton of them lying around. I just don't really do anything with them, to be honest. And lastly from Frozen, I have this Elsa from Frozen 2 who came with that Sven set, and she looks pretty cool. I really like her cape, even though it keeps swinging around to the wrong direction, so it sort of looks more like tails rather than a cape, but nevertheless, she's pretty cool, and again, doesn't have some extreme glittery and sparkly printing, which I love. Next up is Moana from Moana, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if she appears in a future Disney series. I mean, I feel like the minifigure would be really easy to do, considering you could just use those like super curly hair pieces from like Ghostbusters or like Madame Rosmerta for Moana's hair. I think it would match really well, and honestly, I love this minifigure design. The dress, again, so simple. Like, these are the mini dolls that I love to see from Lego. She's just absolutely adorable, and I just love Moana. I really need to rewatch that movie, honestly. One of my favorite additions who blends in with the minifigures perfectly, of course, is Maui. Now, I ended up finding this set on like Gumtree or Facebook Marketplace or something, and it was relatively cheap, especially considering the resale value of Maui, and I'm so glad that I got it because this big fig is spectacular. It's been years, we still haven't gotten another one, so I'm really glad to have him a part of my collection. I love the tattoo prints on his chest and on his arms. It's so cool. And again, he matches the minifigs perfectly. In that set as well, I got this version of Heihei, who the shape looks really good, but the printing kind of sucks, which is exactly why I bought this more modern, updated version, who cost me far more than he should, but the eyes are just perfect. Like, you cannot tell me that doesn't look like Heihei. I also love the color of his body, and I'm really glad that I sort of forked out the money for him, even though it was far too much at like $7 or $8, I'm pretty sure, but he just matches so well in my collection, so I'm really happy. And lastly, from the Moana side of things, we have Pua the Pig, who just looks so cute with his little eyes. I'm pretty sure he came in like a really cheap small set, and I'm glad that I did buy that set because I just really wanted him. I mean, he looks absolutely adorable. You cannot say no to that face. And last but not least, I have Raya from Raya and the Last Dragon. And I also have Sisu the Dragon, but I'm not going to count her just purely because she's a brick-built character with like tons of bricks instead of like a tiny small handful. But again, I really like this Raya mini doll. I love the headpiece and I'm so glad that it is not rubber. Like you could stick this on a minifigure so easily. Her sword as well looks crazily cool, as well as even this map. It just looks so good. So there are all of my Disney princess minifigures, mini dolls, and characters. I really hope that we can get proper minifigure versions of Cinderella and Belle, and hopefully, fingers crossed, Snow White in this idea set that's coming out, as well as all of the 7 dwarves. I really hope for that. Would be a big win for us minifigure fans. And again, if you haven't seen my Disney Classics minifigure collection video, I will leave that link to the end here. And if you want to see the entirety of all of my Pixar characters, including Toy Story, The Incredibles, and all of the cars that I have, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And until next time, guys, I'll see you later.